What's up, AI mad scientist? Funnel Doc here. In today's video, I'm going to be going over everything you need to know for the basics and when you're first starting out for n8n. I'm going to break down everything you need to know about how to set things up, what is what, where to find everything, how to hook it all together, and everything you need to know to start making your first workflows and even MCPs. We'll be talking about that later in the video and in future videos, so keep your eyes open. See you inside today's video. So as you can see in Google Trends, n8n has been, in the last month, August was its highest searched month ever. It's declined a little bit, but it's still a hugely searched trend. When you first logged into n8n, you're not going to have all these different workflows built out like I do. Obviously, it's going to be blank. Let me move myself over so you can see everything that you need to start on. Now, we're going to go start at the top here on the right, work our way down, work our way around, and then we're going to dive inside the actual workflow and everything like that when it gets to that point. So first things first, you can, at the top right here, you can click or add workflows. You can go into credentials. We'll talk about that in a minute. And you can add even more projects. I'm on the $60 plan, which is like the pro. You can do beginner. A lot of you, the beginner plan will totally be free, is free, and will be good enough for you depending on how many different automations and stuff you're doing on a regular basis. As far as hosting and self-hosting, that's one of the things that people talk about a lot when it comes to n8n. You can do what's called self-hosting and host it yourself, either on your computer or on a server for yourself, or you can pay n8n. The difference is the amount of executions that you can be charged. So, for me, I like paying the 60 bucks a month most of the time. It's really a preference. I don't worry about the 60 bucks. I know that way I don't have to worry about it ever going down. One of the problems, if self-hosting, if for some reason your server crashed or something, you're to blame for everything. You're on the hook. This is for me, for clients, because they might not be technical. I usually set everything up for them in what they call the cloud, which is n8n servers versus self-hosting. I will be doing more videos and getting more in depth in this, but for this video, just know that you can potentially host it on your own computer, on your own server, and help to negate the costs, especially when you're first starting out. Or another great time for that is if you want like a sandbox environment, an environment just to test in and play around with, because one of the great things about n8n is the ease of how you can share workflows, and I'll get into that later in the video when I show you how to do it. So you've got your personal space here, you've got your shared space or things, projects that have been shared with you. You've got your projects themselves. Now, normally you get one project, I believe, on the free plan, 3 on the pro, and then enterprise is a whole nother story. I haven't really dealt with that, to be honest with you, so I can't speak on that. But there is another plan for heavy users that go into the enterprise. Now, one of the cool things or not cool things about this, depending on how you look at it, each project is considered its own workstation. So everything that's in each one of these is specific to that project. So your workflows, your credentials, your executions, your data tables, all that stuff's really specific to each different project. And I'll show you what I mean when we get a little more into this. It'll make more sense. Next thing's your admin panel. We'll go to that in just a second once we get down the bottom. First thing you got to look at is templates. Now, this is really cool. A lot of people have gone to a lot of trouble, and you see right here that they've got different templates that you can come in and click on and use. It's really easy, as well as you can go to right here, which I think they have like 5,200 different templates right now. 5,800. They've added about like 600 since last time I looked. And you can come in here and you can search for whatever you want. And the reason why I'm telling you is, depending on what it is, like say we wanted to do something with like VO3, you can come in here and you'll see here's 14 results. A lot of these are free. You'll see right here is free. And we can zoom in a little bit so you can see these a little better. So here's an AI video generated with Google 3 API. And what you do is you just, whatever it is, here's one, we'll just click on it. You'd come right here. It shows you what the workflow looks like. You can actually go into it. You can look at it. You can zoom in. It's actually pretty cool. You can zoom in on the actual workflow itself and look at the different nodes. You can click on the nodes. You can actually go into them. It's really interactive. And then if you like it, you can click right here for free, and then it'll just upload it to your account. It's pretty darn cool, actually. The next thing we'll look at is going on back here. We'll go back. All right. So the next thing we'll look at is variables. Now this is only on the pro plan where you can come in and this is one of my location IDs. So I've added this variable right here, variable location ID. So anywhere I need to use that location ID, I can put that variable and it'll dynamically pull in that information. So for me, when I'm building out a lot of workflows and stuff, if I want to make it dynamic for the client, it makes it easier to like put APIs here, location IDs, maybe their private integration token if you're using Highlevel, those type of things. That way, if it needs to be rotated or changed, you change it here, changes it throughout the whole system. That's another reason why I like the $60 plan. That might be available, to be honest with you, on the self-hosted. I haven't checked out in a while, I'm not sure. Next thing is your insights. Now, you will only have like the top line right here if you're looking at the free plan, then you get some more stuff. It's not really that exciting, I'm gonna be honest. So next thing, you've got some quick start video. Go deep on the documentation. It tells you a lot. You've got a beginner course, a little bit about n8n, forums, bugs. And then the next thing we're looking at, what's new. And this is why I didn't show you the admin panel, is because every once in a while you're going to see this light up. n8n is constantly updating its build and for new versions and whatnot. And you see here's the most recent update, AI tool node. And you click on it and it'll appear and take you right here. You can go deep if you want to learn more. And then what you'll see is it will say update. And when it says update, you're going to go click on it and then it takes you to this panel. You'll see right now, if I go right here on the left to the gear, I'll go to my settings. I'm actually set up for beta. Usually I stay on the latest stable. I did update it to beta for the 3 just because if you're looking for the data tables, they're not on the most recent. You have to update to the 13.3 to get the data tables. So that's why I updated that. I'm just being honest. So, and then once you do that, if you go into it, you'll update to whatever, you hit save. And now this is what's called an instance. They've actually made your own sandbox, again, your own environment that they made for you. When you update that, you'll see it'll say right here, your instance is updating, or yeah, I think it says instance update. I can't really remember, but it'll turn yellow and it will say offline. And then in like a minute, maybe 2 max, it'll update it, turn green. And then you go into your instance just by clicking on it and it'll be updated at that point. I would pay attention to this. Always check it before you update it. They may have a major update that could affect your workflows. I haven't really ran into anything like that yet, but it's something you need to be aware of. So always check that before you update. The next thing are your settings. Here you're going to have all your personal information, that type of stuff, what your theme is, how many users you'll have, like any of your staff or anyone you're sharing your account with, for like my different, AI engineers and my VAs and stuff like that. Now the next ones are, you can get n8n API. So if you actually want to do an API call into n8n, you can affect the workflows and builders and stuff like that. You can create your own API key here for that. The rest of the stuff is really the secrets, environments, this stuff, other than community nodes, is all enterprise level. Now, community nodes will show you any nodes that you'll need to download that used to be community nodes. If you're using the self-hosted, this is one of the things that you can't do in the paid, is they have what's called community nodes, which are tons and tons and tons of experimental nodes made by the community. These are community nodes that have been approved by n8n, so that means they're safe and good to go. Not that really the community nodes I've ever heard of anybody being scammed or anything bad happening, but just know they're not verified by n8n. You'll need to come here every once in a while. This will also need to be updated. You'll just click a button. It says click to update or something like that. I can't remember the exact term. It's very obvious. You click on it, instantly updates to the most recent version of it, and you're good to go. With that being said, next thing, we're going to go to up the top here. This is really on any project. You'll see it's set for projects. And you're going to come right here. First thing first is going to be your credentials. You can also come right here and create a credential. You can also make them in the middle of a workflow, that type of thing. This is going to be all the different credentials you have for different API tokens, different access authorization. You can preset this up, so then you'll just set it up as a header. I'm going to show you how to do it all in a second. Once you establish that, it's really easy. Just click it 2, 3 times, boom, and that way you don't have to set it up every time. Again, the problem is, which also makes sense because if you think about not, I'm using, other than a couple of these, 2 of these are mine. This is another client, but anyway, it makes sense because normally if you're using it for clients, yeah, I'm doing a lot of quotes today, you're using it for clients, you're not going to necessarily want to share with them. So it makes sense. Now, executions, this is just what your different executions, if you want to test them. Now, if they're in test mode, you'll see this beaker right here. You'll see the time started execution. You can click right into it and it will take you to that workflow and you can see what's wrong with it, etc., that type of thing. We'll go into that later when we get into actual building out your workflows. Next thing are your data tables. For this one, I don't have any. Super easy to create. You hit create data table, you name it. This could be like, maybe you're doing like your AI memory. This one great thing about the data tables, you can use them like they're weak versions of Google Sheets. They're just a table. So I come in here, I can add rows at the top, you can see, so I can add a row, add a column. I can come in here and add that way, or I always come in and just click right here. And then like say I wanted to have something that was like, they've already got created, they've got the ID. So this maybe would be interaction. If I was doing that or something, and you have the different ability to make it a string, a number, a Boolean, which is a true or a false, and then time and date. String could be any variables of digits and different types of things. Could be numbers, could be letters, could be a number of different things. Numbers are numbers, of course. That's also, you can see it's very limited in what it technically can be compared to something like Airtable. As you guys know, I like to use that. So you come in here and you can make this for a plethora of different things. If you wanted to actually add a row, you could come in and you can add different rows by coming in here and clicking, and you can see keep adding rows and it'll do created, etc. Pretty cool. I've been playing with it a little bit. It seems to work really well for anything short term that is potential memory. I'm doing some tests. I've seen some other influencers doing tests. And it's really for small amounts of information seems to be a lot quicker than necessarily going and do an API call out to like a Google Sheet or Airtable. But I'll keep testing it and let you know. I'm going to start using it a lot in my stuff, and then I'll do some tests and we'll see. I'll probably do a whole video just on data tables, actually. Let me know. Put data table down in the comments if you want a video all breaking down data tables and comparing it to Google Sheets and Airtable. Those are the two I like to use. Anyway, back to the next thing we've got here. Once we're out of it, we go back, we've got a data table, and you just got your project setting. You got the name, description. If you want to add any members to it, you've got the person who's like your admin, etc. And then you got the ability to delete it. So that is pretty much all your way around here as far as everything goes. You've got overviews, all of them, personal. Think about personal as another project. No, again, personal doesn't share with any of your workspaces. So again, it's a like third or fourth spot that you could have technically a client or different credentials depending on how you wanted to work it. So another thing I wanted to share with you guys here when you're searching for it, when you go into your projects, you can do it in personal too, or into your projects. You can create folders. Create folders. You're going to have a ton of different stuff all over the place. Highly recommend, like I've got one project here where we've got our main agents, our tools, and our MCP servers. We've got 36 workflows in this, 21, 19 workflows. This is a big project, and these are, once you go inside, you'll see there's folders within folders and everything like that, just to help keep everything organized, as well as when we actually go into the workflow, I hit create workflow at the top here to start. You can use tags. So you'll see a lot of times I use tags here. So let's go into, I think it's in my personal here. Let's go right here for this guy. So I want you, first of all, we're going to break this on down here. When you use n8n, I want you to think of two different things. There is what's called an automation, and then there is an AI automation. And the difference between the two is this. When you do an automation, you have an input of any kind, whatever it is, whether it's filling out a form, someone's engaging with, it's not AI, of course, but engaging with your ecosystem in some kind of way. It's true, some type of trigger is starting. If you're familiar with anything like Highlevel, most workflows, all workflows in there, most workflows of anything I've been familiar with before start with some type of trigger. Same thing here. That's going to be your input. Now, the difference between AI, well, first of all, let's just talk about normal workflow. Normal workflow has input. It's got your actions, your manipulations, whatever you're doing to the data, whatever your triggers, your external calls, whatever you're doing happens in the middle. With an automation, it's very linear, whereas you can predict what the output is going to be almost every time. Like 99.99% of the time, it's going to do this because you've set up, even if you're using if then or splits or any type of thing, it's going to go down that flow or down that way because you've set it up to do that. Whereas with AI gets in the middle of the action and you don't know what the output's going to be. It could be putting one time it could be long. Now it could be a long paragraph, other time it could be short. Now you can go in, of course, and you can prompt it and you can set it up and you can help really narrow down that output. But that's one of the great things about AI. You don't want a narrow type of output. If you do, there's a good chance you might want a workflow versus an AI workflow. Keep that in mind. If at any time you're restricting the AI, if you're stopping it from being able to do its job, then there's a good chance you might just need to make a workflow. Maybe you want AI in it to do some special task, but that doesn't mean it needs to be like an AI agent workflow, which we're going to get into what all that means in a second. So, with that being said, long story short, workflows are predictable. AI agent or agentic or AI workflows that really rely on like an AI agent or have different outcomes are not always predictable. Or have an idea what the outcome is, but again, that's some of the magic. So we're going to get into that. So remember, you've got your input here. Now your input in n8n are going to be these triggers, okay? These are the most popular triggers. Now, normally when you come in and you build a workflow, it's going to be blank in the middle. Here, let me open one up real quick just so we can show you. When you come up to the top here and you go create workflow, it normally looks like this. And you can just click right here. And when you do that, it will only allow you to pick triggers at that point. I mean, you can do other stuff and get around it, but the whole point is to start your workflow, it needs to have a trigger. So these are the triggers that are very, very common. Again, you'll see them all listed. If you need it right here are all the triggers. So the first one is click to execute. Now what this is if you want like a start button for your workflow. A lot of times you're just going to want to trigger it and make it go on command. This is really great when you're testing and doing things like that. And you can also click right here to submit it as well. You can see if you have a multitude of different types of triggers, you can go in here to decide which one you're triggering. So the next one, this one I use a lot too, especially for any of the things that are doing like data analysis or any type of scraping or anything that needs to be done on like a 24-hour basis or any type of regular. You can set this trigger to go off on a certain day, time, week, whatever it is. The next one is on app event. Now, one of the cool things about n8n, like other software like Zapier and Make and stuff like that, is that you can go into a lot of apps. Now, this one I picked right here, which is Airtable, which is one I use a lot. But if you go over to the right here, you can see right here, actions in app. Those are also triggers, can be triggers in app. And you can pick. They have a ton of different stuff. You can see I'm just getting into B's right there, C's. There's so many different apps. And if there isn't an app, I'll get into it later and I'll show you how to do an HTTP request, or you can do a webhook. A webhook is, think about it, is a one-way telephone call. So you can send out and output webhook, or what's called a get, where you're going to get information, or post, where you're putting information in. You know, when you're leaving information, or get is getting information, pretty obvious. But you can use these to trigger as well. These are webhooks, It's like a telephone call out to another app. If they don't have an app in here, or a lot of times they'll have the app, but the function you need might not be available. You can look up for that company API. Like here's one of the things I love is Rapid API. I think that's a great one. You can go in, there's a lot of free APIs. You can come in here and you just sign up an account and you can get like Zillow, a lot of different businesses, Facebook, a lot of stuff's in here. You'd be surprised. And you get APIs. I think you can do 1,000 calls a month for free here. This is not a plug. I'm not sponsored by anything like that. I just like to use them and recommend them to a lot of people. They're a lot of fun because once you start learning about the magic of APIs, you can start doing so much cool stuff. That's really one of the powers of n8n. So you've got that webhook where you can call out to it, or when something happens, it can call in and say, hey, this action happened. Somebody clicked on this or did this out in this different environment on this website or third party. And then that comes in and then that starts or triggers a workflow. Now, that, for instance, if you're using Highlevel, that could be a workflow in Highlevel that could trigger a webhook that could fire in, or you can make workflow or web workflows. You can make forms right inside n8n. You can also execute or call on another workflow. A lot of times when workflows get too big and complicated, I like to cut them down. I usually don't like to have more than 30 or 40 nodes per workflow because it just gets too big and all over the place, even though you can still track and see where stuff goes. And I love to see the action on it. For bigger workflows or when I'm calling on it to do something, a lot of times I'll make that workflow and then I'll use this to call on it. And you'll see what I mean when I can do that. So this is going to be the beginning of that called on workflow. If you want to just ever chat with it, you can come down here at the bottom and there's a chat message right here and you can type in it just like you normally would. And that allows you to chat to start the workflow. A lot of times the chat is going to go, there might be a node or two before it, but it usually is going to go into like an AI large language model type node so that you can talk to it. Error trigger, we'll get in this in more of our advanced trainings, but you're going to want to set it up so that you can have your workflows notify you and track when they have errors. Once you set up big systems, you want to be able to let them go, but you also want to be notified when there's problems in them so that you don't have to manually be checking it all the time. And setting up error triggers is a great way to do that. Another one here, this is a evaluation trigger. You can set it up to do evaluations on your workflow. And what you do is you'll set up, and we'll get in this in more advanced training. So don't worry about anything I'm talking about now. I'm just going over everything, and then we're going to deep dive into everything in later videos later in this n8n series. So you can set it up though so that it will have like a Google Sheet or Airtable, and in one column you can put what your expected outcome is, and then it will put what it thinks its outcome is when you do the workflow, and depending on how closely they match, it will rate it and it will like give you evaluations. Really cool. And then you have what's called a model context protocol server or trigger. This is going to be the trigger that hits to all of your different API requests. You can put a plethora of API requests known as tools. So say you want to send an email, create a contact, make an email, make an image, whatever you want these third-party apps to do, you can make those as list them as tools and hook them to MCP. And then the AI will just call this, and then it will know, depending on how you set it up, what tool to use in what example. So it really allows you to give AI a toolbox full of really cool tools that are specific to your use case. So you might need to look up a house. If you're in Zillow, you might need it to pull in data information or scrape something. You might need to look up something, or you might need it to make something with AI. All those different cool actions can, again, remember, we got trigger, action, outcome. All those cool different actions can all be connected to one MCP server, and it can be like, hey, the AI can call down to it and now easily be able to have access to all those tools, and it knows what to do. It's really, really cool. MCPs have been a game changer, as well as AI assistants. That's another one that you can now in n8n, as you saw right here, what's new, an AI tool actually that you can call that makes it so that you can have sub agents. And I'll show you that in a minute when we get into AI a little bit. And then finally, within it, you can actually trigger your workflows depending on certain things that have gone into n8n or happened in n8n. And for any of these, you can click on them, and then you'll see that they'll have different settings. Sometimes you can have different reasons that you want them to do different events or whatever it is. Also, if you ever see how it's highlighted right here, you can hit P to do what's called pin data. Now, it didn't do anything because it didn't have any data in it. I'll show it to you later. And the cool thing about pinning data is it allows you to have data ran once rather than having to run it every time, which can take tokens and use money and stuff like that. Plus, you might have a certain data set of information that you want to use repeatedly rather than having it try and getting it every time. You can just pin it there and then use it. I'll show you later when we get into that. But you'll see you can go into a lot of different stuff here. You can add different fields, all different stuff. And again, we'll get into this in more depth as we go in to this training. And then the next thing we've got again is all your different app actions. So whenever you come into an app, it can be again any different number of things or different apps. But for this one, you would first connect it to your account. I've already got my credentials right there. But if I didn't, I'd go in and there's a whole different set of different things. Some credentials are super easy to set up. Some are a pain in the butt. This is one, I'm going to be honest with you, one of the hardest things about n8n. In future videos, when we're actually setting up workflows, as we get to the credential part, I'll show you how to set up each credential. But once it's set up, you just come in, you pick from a number of your different Airtable or databases or whatever. So say that I wanted to use like this faceless movie creator, I come in, and then you see, I think there's 3 tables or 2 tables on this one, but it'll pull them in. I'm not showing, it's taking a minute. There we go, we got 2. So you go in and pull it in, and then you'd have all your different stuff, and you can map your fields and do all types of cool stuff. Again, I'm not going to get into it too much. This training, it'd make this training 3 hours in length, and I want to make sure that everybody gets this and goes through it all, and that you watch my future trainings, because that's when I'm going to be breaking all down. Now, if you click, see this plus right here, right underneath it, you've got the ability to make these little sticky pads. So if I click this, you'll see a sticky pad comes out, and then I can double click on it, and this allows me to go into notes, and this is what's in what's called markdown format. So right there, if I said mark down, and now I move out, you see it's big letters, and you can put a whole bunch of different stuff in there. Have ChatGPT or Google Markdown, it'll tell you all about it. You can come here, delete it. You can change the color. The colors are quite drab. And then you have different things you can do. You can always do Control C on desktop or whatever the thing is on Mac. I'm obviously a desktop, a PC guy. And then Control V to paste. So you can copy and paste stuff in here all the time. I love these guys because it makes it great when you're doing your workflows, especially for someone like me that likes to teach, or when you're working with your team, you can use these to make notes about certain sections or tools or things that you might need to know about it and highlight them as such. So I really like them. Then you can delete it. Then again, you've got your parameters and different stuff if you want to see what's going on here, as well as you have your AI assistant. So if you're ever in trouble, having errors, you can always use your AI assistant. Down at the bottom, you can then open up the chat menu down at the bottom here. Then you've got the ability to you'll see when we start working, you do input and outputter here. You can clean it. We'll bring everything together and tighten it up. If you want to undo something, if you want to zoom in, you see I'm sort of backed out. I can hit zoom and it'll zoom in on the entire project. And then you've got in and out. You've also got the ability to hold down control and use your mouse wheel will zoom in and out. The thing here is your ability to be able to share this. So if you go right here, you can download, you can duplicate, you can import from your URL or import from a file. You can also share this, and then you can share it with different people in your account. Or if you ever want to share it, go to download, and then you'll see right here it'll download, and it gives you a complete JSON file. It's a lot of stuff, but you can literally go copy, Control C, and I'll put this down below, so if anybody wants this for any reason, you can always have it. But it's pretty cool because like all I need to literally do is see this blank canvas. I just hit Control V or paste and it puts it right in there. The whole thing, everything's done. So I love that about N8N and the easiness to share it, sort of like share funnels for ClickFunnels or share stuff for Highlevel. You have that availability as well. So, what else do we got in here? The next thing we've got is the transformers. Again, you can access this by hitting the plus or tab. We'll pop it open. You can also, when you highlight something, you can hit delete or D for deactivate. And if you hit space bar, it will allow you to change the name on it. So little quick actions there for everything. So for transformers, when you come in, you can find data transformers right here. There's a ton of them. But these are my favorites. So you've got the AI transformer, pretty obvious. The AI is going to transform it. The difference is aggregate is field-based, where merge is just going to merge in all the different inputs. So I could come in, like I was saying for my story, I had 4 different inputs. So I had all of them come in here and it combined everything into one source of information. Where the aggregate, again, is on input on field. So this one would be like, oh, I want to have 2 different aggregates and I want to bring this one on this phone number or area code, and I'm going to aggregate and bring them all together for just those ones. So you'd have those different in. You've got the ability to use JavaScript. I use this one a lot. I'll go to Chat or Claude or different and have it actually make JavaScript to manipulate data so I can get a specific output. But the cool thing about n8n, so much is out there in Chat and in Claude and everything else, and Grok, whoever wants to use that, that it can help you with a lot of this as well as you can watch my videos. Another thing is filter. Obviously, you can filter by different variables inside of it. This one you use a lot, which is the edit field. This allows you to sort of map fields. So if I wanted it to always know that the name of some, like the name is equal to first name or telephone is equal to this value, you can drag and drop and it'll make variables and you can just pull them right in there. I'll show you later about that. So the next thing we've got after we get through the transformers is your AI agents. If you go right here, you have AI and you see just have a ton of stuff for AI in here. Now, the cool thing about AI is you've got nodes for workflows. So if I wanted Gemini to do something, I could just come right here and put Gemini, and you've got all your different things. It can do audio, documents, it can do images. If I wanted to do videos, and then you just come in, well, what do you want it to do with the video? Or if I change it, well, what do you want it to do for an image? And then you can pick what type of models. So once you've set your credentials up, I don't have it for my personal, I've always got it just on my business accounts. And you set up your credential, you can pick what type of model you want to do. And then this is like your input or your query or whatever you want to say. And then if you have any example URLs for images, for maybe you want to send it a certain image, you can actually have an input URL for that. And then you've got the ability to simplify your input and change a bunch of different options. You always on every node will have options and settings. You'll see right here, you've got a settings tab and you've got a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to dive deep into these again on other ones. And ChatGPT is the exact same thing, but just for chat. So you can always pick different type of nodes. And if not, you can always do what's called a HTTP request or an API call. I'll show you that node in a minute coming up to be able to get specific tasks that might not be available for regular AI. If you just want to use AI and you want to be able to select something, you can use this basic chain. They have information, they've got evaluation for AI, they've got so much cool stuff. Again, I'm going to show you even, I'm not going to dive in even how to set this up right now today. I'm just giving you the overview. In the next video coming up, we're going to be diving deep into the workflows right away. I'm going to be showing you how to build out everything you need to know. So keep watching this. Again, today we're just going over the basics. Next thing is flow. I use this one a lot. This is a true false statement. So if it is equal to this, then it's true. So a lot of times when you, specifically when you do images and videos, you don't know how long the API call is going to take before the image is done, and it doesn't just sit there. So what you needed to do is I'll do like this. I'll have a loop or I'll use an if statement. I would put I would usually, this replace would be with this true, false, or whatever, depending, or I'd use a loop on it. And what I would do is I'd check to see when it's complete. And if it's false, it's not complete, well, I'd hook it, and that's so cool. I love how you can just do that. You can just click these guys right there and it connects it. But I'd connect it if it's false and it wasn't complete, I'd go to the wait state. I'd come right here. I'd do like a loop. and then check to see if it's again. If not, I'd wait again. And then when it finally was complete, that would be true and it would go forward. Now, switch is cool because this allows you to be like, okay, you can bring in one data information and split it out. So you can come in here and be like, okay, I want if its value is equal to 5, I want to go in this route. And if it's equal, like you could think about it for like contracts. If contracts less than 1,000, they're going to go this route. If they're less than between 1,000 to 5,000, this route. If they're more than 10,000, they're going to go this route, or 100,000, whatever you want it to be. But that's one of the different instances of this. And these are the core nodes. These are some cool ones that you're always going to be using. Again, we talked about the code node. You do have two different types of code node. You can do JavaScript or Python. I pretty much use JavaScript for everything. Here is the new one for the data. You just go in and you just can type in data. I like doing that. And here's your data table. And then you can see it's just like Google Docs or Airtable. You can do all the different stuff in here. Webhooks, again, API calls. And then here's your HTTP request, which they have this thing which is really cool called import curl, which you can come in and you can paste it in a lot of stuff. Like for instance, if we were in go into Highlevel, we can go in into their API document, and we'll go into this a lot deeper into the next video I've got, where I'm going to actually be showing you everything you need to know about MCPs and other stuff like that. So keep your eyes open. But you can come in and and get stuff from here. And actually, I'm not going to go too deep into it because I'm going to save this for training. But you see this information right here. You can just copy this, and then you come back in and you go import curl, and I paste it right here and hit import, and boom, it pulls in some of the information. So it gives you a base wireframe idea of what the information you're looking for, as well as you go in here, you can see what's required. We're going to go in all this later when in future videos. But with that being said, this is going to wrap up today's video. I think that talks about everything you need to know. We're going to get into building workflows. I'm going to show you everything from scratch in the next video, as well as I'm doing MCPs, AI, UCG. I've got so much different stuff we're doing with video creation. You're going to be able to get rid of all your social media. You'll be able to make all that on your own. All your images will be able to be done with this. Your whole ecosystem can be automated with n8n, and I'm going to show you how. So keep watching. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'm out of here today. Funnel Doc out. Peace. What's up, high levelers? Fun. No, we can go with that.